Hey, what's up? This Comic 95 the Savior, and this would be a Ren's Japanese journal. If you're new to my channel, to basically explain this is where I talk to you about things that are on my mind, my personal life here in Japan. It is about me, but I am also going to talk to you like you're my real friend, like you're my mother, like you're my best friend, my husband, something of that regard. Just like how you would write inside of a journal, I'm talking about things that I don't feel like I could have expressed in real life properly because it wouldn't have been appropriate to do so, things that I thought about later on, etc. Sometimes it's going to be things that made me angry, that made me sad, that made me happy, that made me laugh, etc. Just as you would write inside your journal, I'm doing the exact same thing, but instead inside of video format. In other words, I don't need you to correct me and tell me what I should or should not do, or give me your 2 cents on what you would have done. I'm telling you about the past, and I'm telling you how I feel, and my feelings are valid. I'm talking to you as though it's a journal. This is my outlet, my venting to you, getting you a little bit of insight on what it's like to live in Japan from someone else's perspective. If you cannot understand and accept that, this channel is not for you. Like all of my journal videos, I do not care about what my hair looks like. I don't care about my background. I don't care about any of those type of things. I'm just coming to you as I am. Nothing fancy, no makeup, no fancy hair, etc. Sometimes I do, but like I said, that's not the purpose inside of these videos or this channel. So yeah, now that we have that out of the way, I do want to invite you to please subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and also please consider supporting me on Patreon for $5 per month. You'll get access to over 150 videos that will instantly be available to you, as well as more videos that come to you every month throughout each year here on Patreon. So, or they're on Patreon, I should say. So, yeah. I don't know, like I have like weird feelings like that I think about like throughout my day here, and one of them is I just think it's so weird that like Japanese people act like so shocked by the idea that like either you can eat Japanese food or like even the fact that you go shopping. And it's like, I would say that it should be surprising, but then it's like no matter how old of a Japanese person like you're dealing with, unless they're like, I don't know, maybe 50 plus, or maybe even people in their 50s, maybe more like 60s. I don't know from what year where they're learning English from native English teachers, but anybody that's in their 30s or 40s definitely had an English teacher. At least I think they did. Definitely 30s. I don't know about 40s. And so it just blows my mind that people like act so shocked, like, oh my god, a foreigner at the grocery store. And it's like, where do you think we buy our food from? Like, do you think that we just like go to Pizza Hut and Domino's and McDonald's and Burger King for every meal every day? Not to mention, I find that even when I go to those places, they seem shocked to see me. And it's like, do you think that I get it like fresh off the plane from the US or something like that? And then it's also really funny too, because like there's the stereotype that we're the ones that use Uber Eats and we use McDonald's. Yeah, of course we do, but at the same time it's like Uber is only staying in business because they have mostly Japanese customers. I want to also remind you that Uber was alive and thriving and grew significantly during the pandemic when there were no foreigners here, except for the ones that lived here. And I promise you there's not enough of us here to keep Uber Eats or Uber, the driving service, in business. Not to mention with McDonald's, every time I go to McDonald's, there's normally no foreigners there, or I can count them on one hand, whereas it's flooded with Japanese people. But again, the stereotype is that this is all we eat every day for every meal, and it's like, most Americans are fat not because of McDonald's, but because it's cheaper to buy processed food. And it's actually the same situation in Japan. The only thing that stops them from being fat is 2 things. 1, they have the peer pressure and bullying from media, school, your family, your friends, telling you to be skinny. And I'm not talking about normal weight. I mean, the goal is to be underweight. Ask the average girl here how much they want to weigh. 2, not just that. Keep in mind that healthy food is very expensive here. And what keeps them fit is the fact that they're eating not only small portions, but even when they have larger portions, they do so much more exercise in their day-to-day life, walking, riding their bikes, standing, etc., that we don't do as Americans. Your average American, that is. Now, of course, when you go to cities in which there are, more forms of transportation, etc., you do see a generally thinner population or average weight population. For example, if you're going to focus on the downtown areas of like Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, you're dealing with people that are normally normal weight, thin, healthy, whatever, versus when you go to suburban areas or the outer skirts of the city, you start dealing with more obese people. Why? Because it's not easy to buy, groceries that are fresh, and you're not actually walking around everywhere. You're mostly driving in a car, thus you don't have many opportunities to actually exercise. Could you still do it if you wanted to? Yes, but again, we just don't. Same thing goes for Japanese people. They don't use gym memberships. I said this before. They don't even have exercise equipment at home. When they want to lose weight, they just adjust their diet. And for the average person, they never have to deal with that because they're constantly being served small portions, combined with the fact that they're constantly walking, constantly riding their bikes everywhere. But that's all a whole nother story. I should also add that unlike Americans, specifically white and black people, Japanese people, being Asian, they cannot maintain the same type of weight that we can without having severe health risks. For example, if a Japanese person were to weigh as much as I do, they'd probably be dead right now. However, again, there's differences from race to race. So if you are an Asian person, I forgot the actual like amounts there are, but for example, like there are more health risks for a white or Asian person to be overweight than you would have as a black person. And that's scientifically, factually proven. I'm not making up the shit to you. You can literally do a search on it. That does not mean it's okay to be fat as a black person. I'm just saying that we don't have the same health risks. For example, they carry their weight very bad. Keeping it real. Look, my husband's Japanese. My children are half Japanese. I've been here for 10 years. Almost 10 years. I'm keeping it real with you. If they weigh, even I would say like from about 150 pounds up, they look like they're 200 plus pounds at like just 150 something pounds. Whereas an American person is 150 something pounds, it can actually look healthy and good on them. It's still overweight, but I'm just saying that it doesn't look that big. Whereas a Japanese person will only be like 10 pounds overweight, and it looks like they're 30 pounds overweight. They don't carry their weight very well. So there's also, in my opinion, more motivation to want to maintain a good weight. And I say all of this because I just find it really weird that they think that like we're not supposed to eat anything. Just like same thing with dating. It's like people like so surprised, like, oh, you have a Japanese boyfriend, or now my husband, Japanese husband? What do you think I'm gonna do? Like if you're living in Japan for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, we just give up on sex and we become asexual after we come here? Like we're just robots that just teach English? We're not supposed to have a social life? We're not supposed to date? We're not supposed to get married and have children? What? And so of course I get it, fine, if you only stay for a year or two and you don't like Japan and you choose to go back home, like how most people do, yes, I can understand that. But for the ones that are living here, why is that a surprise to you? Like, you do the same thing when you go to my country. So I just think it's so weird that, like, their minds are just, like, blown. Like, wow, you actually have a life here. Like, yeah, of course, I have a life outside of just teaching for the pennies that you're paying me. Of course. And so, like, yeah, even with the food thing, it's like, you guys eat McDonald's way more than we did. Like, I never had McDonald's on a daily basis when I was in, grade school. But these Japanese kids, they go to McDonald's every day after school. Like, from junior high school through high school and even as college students. Like, literally go to McDonald's from about, I want to say about maybe 2:30, 3 p.m. until about 6 or 7 p.m. and it's flooded with junior high school and high school students. And then I want to argue that from around about, I would say about 5 to about midnight, you can find little batches of college students studying there, talking, flirting, acting like hoes, etc. That's how McDonald's is. And so it's really funny to me that the stereotype is on us, which I get it. Yes, McDonald's is an American restaurant. But it's like, okay, like, do you guys eat at Yoshinoya and Sushiro for every meal? No. That'd be like me meeting a Japanese person in the U.S. and being like, wow, are you at McDonald's? There's a Kokoichi, on, I don't know, whatever street. And it's like, we eat things besides just fast food. Just like how you guys eat things besides just fast food. So, whatever. And then, like, even at the grocery store is the funniest part to me. It's like, I swear it seems like I literally catch people looking at my basket, and it's like like I swear, like, it seems like they like probably expect me to just have nothing but like junk food inside of it. I'm on a diet right now, FYI, so I'm eating a lot healthier than I normally do, but I had nothing but like just fruits and vegetables inside of my basket, and I literally saw like maybe 2 or 3 people like kind of peek into my basket and look and see what I got inside there. And like even just seeing people like kind of like just shocked, like, oh, it's a foreigner inside the grocery store. And in all honesty, fine, I get it, I have curly hair, I'm black, I was the only foreigner there, so I understand. But like at the same time, it's like they're kind of like shocked, like, you're buying groceries, you can cook? Yes, I do. And then even like that stupid question, I've had people ask me like several times, what type of food do I normally make? I'm an American. Like, if you were to go to the U.S., what food do you make? You're going to find ingredients to make the food that you learn how to make, which is Japanese food. And I've said this before on my channel, but, like, I feel the need to address this again. I've had some people ask me this before, really, literally, just, like, a handful of people. Like, I'd say less than 5. And one person during a live stream. No shade or hate towards you. But I just have to keep it real because I wanted to answer this question, like, nip it in the bud. Because I see people, like, make jokes about this and talk about this, not dealing with me, but, like, just in general. When you are in an interracial and international relationship and you are the minority in that person's said country, you being able to make food from your home country is way more impressive than you being able to make Japanese food. Yes, you can get your little claps and, oh, she can make Japanese food. But the reality is your partner is going to prefer for you to make them food from your home country. As long as your home country's food don't taste like shit. It's interesting. I mean, how often do you have somebody that's gonna fucking make you a pork chop sandwich and a hamburger at home? Like, these are things that you would never cook. Or, tacos or burritos or whatever the case is. They don't make these type of things. You would never have that at home. You'd have to go to a restaurant in order to have that sort of food. So with that said, why would your partner... I make some really good spaghetti, even though I hate spaghetti. But my meatballs are a bomb, y'all. But anyway, long story short, why would your partner not want you to make food from your country when they can literally get Japanese food anywhere? They can go to their parents' house, they can go to the convenience store, they can go to a Japanese restaurant, they can even cook some things themselves. It's much more impressive to get food that's foreign and exotic from you. For example, when I make my husband Japanese food, he likes it too. But you want to know what he does when I make American food for him? He takes pictures of it and shit. I mean, he took pictures of the Japanese food too, but you get what I'm trying to say. He's more excited over the foreign food, and he shares it with his friends, etc. That makes me feel good. And so again, I mean, everyone's spouse is different, just like giving you like a little bit of perspective on that, because I think it's hard for Americans in particular to understand, because we're so used to like praising other countries and cultures' food, and we don't think of our own food as being good, when really our country has every food. We've just put our own twist to it, but really there's no such thing as truly American food beyond the hot dog and hamburger, and technically I would argue that those probably came from somewhere else too. And with that said, all of our food really comes from the multicultural country that we do have, which that's wonderful. But at the same time, it also has allowed us to experiment and have a lot of diverse foods that are from our country. For example, like we eat spaghetti too, we eat pizza too, and these things are Italian food. Like, we like croissants, we like, cheese, and we like these different things. We like Chinese food, etc. But we've put our own twist on it. We make our food differently than what you're going to get in China and what you're going to get in Italy. And I'm not going to argue with you Europeans and Asians about what tastes better. I'm not going to get into that. I'm just saying that we have our own version of stuff. And when you view it as a separate food, it's delicious. Just like with sushi. If you view American sushi, aka the California rolls and all the exotic tempura rolls and crap like that, as its own category, you're lying to yourself. You pretend like it doesn't taste delicious. It's not the same as the raw fish sushi. To be honest, it actually tastes a lot better than Japanese sushi. But that's another story. I know that was like the worst thing you could possibly say. I'm going to offend y'all weeboos, but I'm keeping it real. It's the truth. It does taste better. There's no way that you can have a piece of fried fish, California roll, and then have a regular piece of Japanese sushi and pretend like the Japanese version of it tasted better. You're lying to yourself. I've been living here for a very long time, and I do like sushi, believe it or not. However, I'd be capping if I pretend like Japanese tastes better. Now, we're not talking about the even though, to be honest, the cheap sushi that I've had actually does taste good too, that I've had in the US, but because I know people like get on gas station sushi and this, that, and the other, but we're not going to talk about that. So anyway, I'm getting like way off subject. I just find it so weird. It's like, what do you guys think that we do? Like, do you think that our parents just like send us McDonald's Happy Meals like in the mail or something, and we eat that like at home? Like, people act so surprised that we're like buying groceries to cook stuff with. And then I think that sometimes people even wonder, like, do we know what we're buying? Like, yeah, we do. Like, believe it or not, I mean, for starters, I've been living here for a long time, so I do know how to read most of the things that I'm buying. I can't read everything, but I don't understand something, I have no problem using Google Translate, or I'll even ask my husband if he's available. I'll send a picture, but like, hey, like, which one should I be buying, etc. I'll take a picture of and translate it myself. However, we can tell what things are just by looking at it. Like, before I could understand any Japanese, like before I even knew how to say yes and no in Japanese, I would literally like be buying things like cleaning supplies and laundry soap and different things like that. And it's like, you don't have to be able to speak, read, or write Japanese in order to figure out what something is. You can get a general idea as to what it might be based off of where it's being sold at in the store, the availability of the product, looking at what other people are picking up, and again, the similarities between a Japanese version and your own home country's version. In my case, as an American, for example, I can take a good look at laundry soap and determine, is this fabric softener or is it, laundry detergent? Same thing goes with food. I can decide, are these, I don't know, can't even think of an example. Pears or apples, for example. Like, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. Some things are just universal. Not to mention something very interesting. Despite Japan being an island, they really can't grow pretty much any fruit here. Almost everything that they have here, fruits, nuts, etc., not all of these things, but a lot of it is actually given to us from the Philippines and the US. For example, almost all the nuts here seem to come from America, which I find very odd. But that's another story, which is also why those things are very expensive. And again, talking about being healthy, they can't even grow most of the stuff they need here. I won't say most, but a great deal of it, Japan does not have the land to grow these sort of things. They don't have the right type of soil, the right type of weather, etc., which I find very interesting because Japan is an island, but it doesn't have quite exactly island temperatures that are ideal for growing these sort of things, which is why Japan heavily relies on trade. And that's a big part of why Asians eat so much rice. It's not because it's healthy for you, because it's not. It's simply something that's easy and cheap for them to produce in mass quantities. This is also why Japan heavily invested in things like electronics, because it gave them a way to make money and trade with the outside world. But that's another story. We're not going to get into that. It's not a history lesson, just letting you know. But yeah, it's so irritating to me because it's like, I like it at the same time because, like, I'm not gonna lie, it's funny to me, like, seeing people, like, look at you like, oh, like, there's a foreigners at the grocery store, like, what are they buying? But then at the same time, it's like, yes, I eat food, like, look at me, I eat food just like how you do. Yes, I do. And also, I'm not rich. How do you... Look, there's some people here that are doing it. But for a normal person, you cannot afford to be getting fast food for every meal, every day of the week, from Uber Eats or any other delivery service out there, or even just going out to eat for every meal. That will add up very quickly. That's way too expensive to be doing. Most of us do eat things at home. And just like how you eat junk food, we can eat junk food too. Just like how you use Uber, we can... Like, they literally make their own version. They have like 2 different versions of their own, menu? And I think the other one is actually an Indian app. But they have their own Asian bootleg versions of Uber Eats. So I find it really funny that's like, okay, so when you do it, it's not fat. But when we do it, it's fat. Okay. So, anyway, I had another, like, interesting, like, little run-in today, too. I swear, like, I keep trying to stop doing it, but it keeps happening. It's, like, my biggest, like, flaw that I have. And God's gonna keep testing me until, like, I finally pass it. And, like, every time that I think that I passed it, like, I get tested again, and it's like, nope, you failed the test. Like, you're not ready yet. I keep having people purposefully know that they are walking on the wrong side, and they try to, like, play off, like, either they play the old lady game where it's like, oh, I'm too fragile and old to move to the right side, so you should move around me. And it's like, it blows my mind because, like, if you don't want to move over, why do you think I want to move over? Not to mention, it's more annoying for me because I have to move to the wrong side because you're on the wrong side, and then move back to the right side. Why not just walk in the right direction so that this way neither of us have to move ever? We can just keep walking straight. And then not just that, the fact that they can't fucking stop. I was literally getting ready to cross the street, and this dumb bitch decided to run across the street into traffic, basically. And it was a bike trying to come and turn into the sidewalk. So here I am. I'm standing here. I'm getting ready to go that way. There's a girl that ran across the street stupidly and is trying to turn behind where I am. And then there's a girl on a bike. Well, guess what? Both of these dumb bitches act like they don't understand how to stop. Now, I used common sense because I wasn't trying to get hit by the bike. I didn't know which way the bike was going at first. I didn't know if the bike was trying to go straight or if it was going to turn. Well, guess what? The Japanese hoe on the cycle, she didn't think to herself, the Sachiko on a bicycle, it didn't cross her mind, maybe I can stop my bike to make sure I don't hit anyone, and maybe I should wait a second, because the light now changed, where the people that are standing behind me and where I am, we're about to go forward. Wait, bitch, you're turning into traffic. Why do they act like they have the right of way on bikes? So, I let the girl go around me, and then the girl on the bike was trying to go at the same time that I am, and I'm thinking like, bitch, wait! Like, it's raining outside, you have an umbrella, I have an umbrella. Either stay back, or better yet, I don't understand why people on bikes, if they have to turn right in the middle of the sidewalk. How about you turn in, like, right on the corner, so that this way, you can keep going and don't have to stop. But even then, it's like, you have brakes, you have feet, you can slow down, stop trying to race people. And I'm pretty sure from her perspective, she was hoping that she could get there and turn in first before the other Japanese girl came and turned in that direction. And so, that just irritated me so much. So, of course, I just kept going. I think my umbrella hit or whatever. I didn't even give a fuck. Then, later on, getting ready to go to Life. And I'm walking to the grocery store. And again, the old lady, old Japanese people keep pulling off the shit. She's walking on the wrong side. And it's like, it's going to happen. Instead of her moving and staying on the left side, she decides she's going to move all the way over to the right side, where I'm really supposed to be. And so when she realized that I wasn't going to move out of the way, she tried to go around me and try to wedge herself outside the corner. So you know what I did? Since she was going to make me have to walk out into the street and deal with traffic, I tilted my umbrella towards her. And I kind of saw her kind of look like, kind of shocked, like, Is this bitch stupid? And you know, the sad thing is, from their perspective, I think they believe that I'm just some rude foreigner. And it's like, no, I'm tired of this double fucking standard. Because see, when they do it, nobody bats an eye. They understand that they're walking on the wrong side and the Japanese person will move. But then it's like, okay, when I do it, then I'm bad. I'm rude. I'm disrespectful. I don't understand Japan. It's like, no, you don't understand your own fucking rules. I'm following the rules that you all put in place. You all decided that you are supposed to stay on the left side. So I'm staying on the left side. Just as you don't want to have to go around, I don't want to have to go around. And the dumb thing is, like, if we all just follow the fucking rules and stay on the left side, or when in Kansai, depending on where you are, because that's another thing too, people don't tell you. It depends on where you are. Kyoto's kind of a weird place. In some places you stay to the left, and other places you stay to the right. But when in doubt, just follow what everybody else is doing. But sometimes everybody else is wrong. For example, I have been in Kansai, and like you could tell when you first get off the train when you're dealing with Tokyo people and other people in Japan, where everybody's still lining up on the left side. It's like, we're now in Kansai. You should be on the right side, actually. So sometimes you do have to break the rules. But again, just do what everybody else is doing. Because then again, if you're the one standing on the wrong side, then people get upset with you. And it's like, no, you're the ones breaking the rules. I'm the one following them. But if you're the only one following it, then it looks like you're the one breaking the rules. Because that's how stupid and robotic Japanese people tend to think. I'm sorry, I'm keeping it real. So anyway, well, like I said, look, we don't talk politically correct here. I'm keeping it real with you. If you live in Japan, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. So yeah, it just aggravates me so much. Because it's like, you're making a problem for yourself. And then it's not even just that. It's the fact that you see that they're visibly irritated with you. And it's like, it's your fault. Literally, everybody walking behind me is on the left side too. So do you not realize that when you're walking, everybody's having to move to get out of your way? Maybe it's because you are inconveniencing everyone. So don't get mad at me because I'm not playing your game and I decide, no, I'm going to stand my ground. I want to stay on the right side. The right side being the left side. And then even a case like where I clearly have like bags and shit in my hands. And it's like, no, I'm staying on the correct side. You need to go around. And then not to mention, so okay, I get it. Sometimes there's a car coming. And maybe you want to be on the other side so you can see the traffic. Well, guess what? You can do this wonderful thing where your body can fucking stop. And if you have a bike, you can fucking pull on the brakes and put your feet on the ground, you dumb bitch. You don't have to keep going forward. You can stop. It's not that fucking hard. In fact, sometimes I wish I was in the US because if these motherfuckers had to, pay your insurance and shit, I would love for y'all hoes to hit me with a bike. I would love for that shit to happen. But the only reason why I won't is the police here so fucking crooked. You can literally have a photo of their bike. A photo of the person. And they'll be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna look into it and get back to you in 30 minutes. Oh, sorry, we can't find them. Sir, I know her address. Oh, we knocked on the door, nobody answered. Yeah, she moved. I'm so sorry. Oh, okay. Like, they'll bullshit you. But if you hit a Japanese person, they will hunt your ass down. They will get you extradited from your country to bring you to justice. But they don't do that with their own, though. If their own people do something bogus to you, it's up. Oh, you got raped? Did you enjoy it? Did you have an orgasm? Like, that's the way that they act here. So, it aggravates me so much. Because, like I said, it almost makes you want them to hit you. Because I'm like, are you really not going to stop your bike? Like, just stop. It's not that hard. And then even with people that are walking, you can stop. Why is the solution to just walk even faster? Just stop for 5 seconds. And if you truly don't want to stop, okay, then switch sides. And sometimes they do that. Which I think that's weird too. It's like, just wait. They get so impatient because they don't want to have to move to the correct side. They would rather cross the street than walk on the right side. Which blows my mind with that too. But with that, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. As long as I get to stay on my side and keep going straight. Because sometimes I feel so petty, I will literally stop and wait for them to go around me. Because I ain't got time for that bullshit. So, again, I'm working on trying to be the bigger person. But man, it's hard to do all the time. Because I just wish they would be the bigger person. The part that irritates me the most is like, they break this rule and then they get mad when a foreigner follows the rule. And when their own people break the rule, they don't say shit. For example, when a Japanese person walking on the wrong side, everybody move out of the way. They don't care. But then if I decide, no, you guys made this rule, I'm following it. You move to the right side. Well, I gotta move. Then I'm rude. I'm a bad person, right? And then I want to make another video talking about this topic, but I'm going to just wait. I'm going to wait because I want to make that separate video because I've already made a video talking about this, but it's dealing with the topic of foreigners breaking the rules. And I'm tired of people trying to play vigilante out there. It really irritates me. So again, speaking out of both sides of my mouth, like I said, I've talked about things that I do want you guys to follow the rules. Okay, I'm not going to encourage you to break the rules. For example, I'm a big advocate on dressing modestly here. However, I do have an issue when people act like foreigners are the only ones that break rules, are the only ones that do stuff wrong and bad, etc. And it acts so irritating, like they're helping us and doing us favors. It's like, I cannot tell you how many times I've seen a Japanese person do the exact same thing. In fact, I would argue that this happens more with Japanese people than with foreigners. But that's another story. So, anyway, yeah, it's a weird thing. Like, we're not supposed to eat food here in Japan. We're not supposed to date. We're not supposed to get married. We shouldn't have any sort of a social life. Our life is just supposed to be comprised of, teaching English, apparently. And we apparently shouldn't have houses either, because they're shocked when they found out, you live near me? Yes, like, do y'all think that, like, teachers just teleport from, like, California and New York and just magically come from London into your classroom, and then when school's out, bye kids, we just take like a fucking, Blue Origin rocket ship or some crap back to the US? How do you all think this works? We live here, duh. Maybe everybody doesn't live here for long periods of time, but the average teacher stays for at least 1 to 2 years. And with that said, how do you think we're able to, like, get dressed and take a shower and change our clothes? Like, we have to have a place to stay at, you guys. And so, it also kind of irritates me too, because I know that people, like, don't even care to, like, differentiate the two between foreigners that are, like, tourists here and those that actually live here. Because and if you're wondering, like, why differences have to be made, it's for obvious reasons. Somebody that lives here obviously understands the culture better, normally the language better too. Normally those two. Because there are some people that have been living here for a long time, don't know shit about culture or language. But you get what I'm trying to say, your average person does. We're more, how can I put it, assimilated, if you will, into Japanese culture. The smart ones are. There are some, look, I'm going to keep it real. I've met a ton of black people and a good deal of white people that are not. But I'm going to keep it real with you. I would say a lot of us are. Most of us smart individuals are. Keyword smart individuals are. And with that said, there has to be differentiations made. For example, being amazed that we can use chopsticks or speak very mediocre basic Japanese should not be a surprise when we live here. If you're a tourist just visiting here, ooh, chopstick skills. But for somebody that's been living here for years, I hope I know how to use chopsticks by now. I hope I can read hiragana and katakana at least by now. Like, you see what I'm trying to say? There should be different standards for you. But then this is where this also becomes a toxic thing too, where it's like, you shouldn't be expecting somebody that just got off a plane and is going to be here for somewhere between a couple of days to a few months. Why would they learn Japanese for this vacation? That's stupid. It's not needed. Now, you might learn English for your vacation, but for you, it's very different. For starters, you can't get around in the world without English. And two, English can be used in every country, whereas Japanese can only be used in Japan. Even countries where people don't generally speak English, you can easily find somebody that does speak English. You cannot do that with Japanese. It's a useless language. It sounds very offensive, and it's not politically correct to say, but it's the truth. Where do you use Japanese outside of Japan? Nowhere. Now, of course, if you live in some poor Asian country, you can find some people that want to speak Japanese to be able to do business with them. But being honest, they're going to be learning English to do business with your country, not your country's language. Thus, you learning Japanese is still a waste. If I want to do business with China, Italy, France, Germany, anywhere else, what language am I going to use? English. It would make zero sense to learn Japanese, to only use it in Japan. Now, if you're one of those weeboos that worship Japan, love the language, I don't give a fuck. I'm saying that it's useless. You can do whatever the fuck you want to. I'm just saying that it's a useless skill to have. It would be like going to school to learn how to use Microsoft Excel. Is it not useful? Of course it is. Do you need to get a degree in that? No, that would be stupid. Okay, well, that's how dumb you sound when you choose to learn Japanese like that. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying learn it as in period, but I mean for the purpose of vacationing, it's pretty stupid. For the purpose of working here, unless you plan to live here. In my opinion, if you plan to be in Japan for anything less than 10 years, I would argue that it's probably not worth it. Should you pick up some Japanese? Yes, and you will do that naturally. But should you bother to, like, get to the N1 level? If you have the time, money, and resources, sure, why not? But it's pretty much a waste because you're not going to use it outside of that. You're going to have to go out of your way to find reasons to maintain your language ability. And to me, if that's the case, it just isn't worth it. But again, do what you want to do with your life. I'm just saying that it's useless. So, your choice. Whereas with English, whether you love America or not, you can't escape it. It's everywhere. And we didn't invent English, but the English that you see out in the world and the English that is taught is typically American English for obvious reasons. So, Sorry for my Brits out there, but yeah, we kind of took over it. Okay, like, sorry. So, man, that's a suck. Like, talk about cultural appropriation. Just think about that for a second. We appropriated the fuck out of English. Like, we didn't only like make our own country like in the U.S., but I should say they, because look, that wasn't me. That was white folk. But they literally like made it their own language. Like, they changed the way that they spell stuff, they changed the way that words are used for stuff, etc. It became its own thing. And now if you speak British English, most people don't even understand what the fuck is coming out of your mouth. If you speak British or Aussie English or whatever, even Canadian English sometimes, because y'all be saying some shit weird. But sorry, Canadians, but y'all don't like me. Y'all are weird. Canadian people are nice on TV and they're weird on South Park, but they're mean. Like, they're bullies to people I've met in real life. I don't know why. Like, for example, I found that the only people that I get along with here since I've been in Japan has been the Germans, people that are Romanian, and it was some other place too. South Africans, but that depends too. Not the white South Africans. Y'all got some issues. Y'all not even really South African. Y'all Danish and shit. Confused. But sorry, we ain't finna get into that. I can't think of any other place right now. I have to think about that for a second. But yeah, everybody else hates me, so I don't know. Maybe it is me. I don't know, y'all. I give up. But anyway, because I literally lived inside of a share house and I didn't say shit to nobody. And there was literally like a group of them just sitting around talking about how there's no racism in Japan and how basically how black people aren't being treated badly. So it's like, are you trying to like make me say something? You're supposed to be a Muslim. Like, it was some Middle Eastern hoe. A weird ass nigga. And so I know he must have been trying to get my attention, trying to get me to say something. Then it kind of pissed me off because the guy that he was talking to was German, and I liked him, not in that type of way, but like, you know, as a friend. And he was like agreeing with him, like, oh yeah, this and that. It's like, neither of you all are black, so how the fuck are you gonna speak on black issues? I'm done. And I mean, it's one thing for you to say what you've observed, but it's like, you cannot talk about, why would somebody express their racism and hate towards black people towards you, to you, when you're not black? How would that conversation ever come up? For example, I'm not Korean or Chinese. I don't have people talking to me about their hate for them, but you know what I can do? I can look at forums. I can see what people have to say. I can think about my college friends and classmates and discussions that were brought up during history class. And I can think and look at, what I see in the media and what I hear people say when I ask them personally, have you done any of that stuff? No, you have not. Please stop. And there's so much more to go into. I'm not going to get into all that crap with you all, but anyway, for the most part, I've had some weird experiences with Canadians. It was also funny because I thought it was a stereotype, but I had a Canadian roommate. She was Asian. I think she was like Chinese Canadian or whatever. But her family like sent her like a box of maple syrup. And it was so hard for me not to laugh because like, oh my god, that is like the most, like that would be like my family like sending me like a box of like McDonald's Happy Meals or something like that. And so I'm assuming she would like got it for souvenirs, but I don't know if she was like using it to eat for herself. And it's like, wow, y'all really do eat maple syrup like that? Like if you're Canadian, can you like back that up? Do y'all really eat that shit? Like, I like maple syrup, but it's like enough to like buy boxes of it and give it out as souvenirs? I don't know. I gotta try it though. Can't knock it till you try it. Okay, I've never had Canadian syrup, not that I know of, so maybe it is really good. I just thought that it was really funny. And whenever I think about a Canadian person, like my mind instantly goes to Terrence and Phillip from South Park. So like, if I'm talking to you and I know that you're Canadian, like my brain is like in another place. I'm like, I wonder like if their head can like slice in half. And just like British people, it's like, do they really talk like that when they get home, or do they like just be like put on like that meme goes? There was a meme that went around on Facebook a long time ago, and it was talking about they wonder if British people like stop using their accent when they get home. And it's like, that's exactly how I feel. It's like, because their voices sound so fake, like it doesn't sound real. It's like, wow, you really talk like that. But yeah, I cannot be British because I'd be too mad. Don't y'all get pissed off as British people the fact that you have to dumb down the way that you talk for people to understand you because they want you to speak with an American English accent because they don't understand your accent, even although your accent is the original. That's crazy. So can't relate, but it's crazy. So yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this, you guys. I just thought that it was so weird that like people act like I'm not supposed to eat, I'm not supposed to have sex, I'm supposed to date, I'm supposed to do anything here. I just teach English, and if I do anything, I don't know what I'm supposed to do as far as food. It's like no matter where I go, people kind of look at you weird, like, oh. Or maybe they look when you're at McDonald's. Maybe they think like, you're an American in its natural habitat or something. Like, maybe that's the reason why you get stares there. Because, like, even when I remember I went to the grocery store, this doesn't happen recently, this was like a year ago now, and I went to go buy natto, and, like, it wasn't for me, it's for my husband, because I just recently started liking it, because I used to hate it. I used to not be able to eat it, but my husband loves it. So I was buying like 3 things of it for him because he can eat like 2 of them in one sitting. And the person that was next to me was a guy, like an older guy next to me. He like just kind of like looked at me a little bit, and it's like, yes, actually some of us do like natto. Now I do like it. I didn't like it back then. And so it's like, if we live here, I mean, the majority of the food at the grocery store, for starts, is there assuming that you're going to use it for Japanese dishes. So it's easier to cook Japanese food than it is to cook American dishes. However, if you're cooking things from scratch, there is almost nothing that you cannot make here in Japan. Now, there are ingredients that you gotta find. I know, shut the fuck up. Y'all know what I mean. In general, you can make just about any dish from the US here in Japan when you're using ingredients from scratch. They have vegetables. They have fruit. It's more expensive, and there are some things missing. For example, my heart was broken. I'm on like, I wouldn't really call it fast, but like, I'm doing like a plant-based diet right now. And I was making guacamole, and my heart was broken. Life always has red onions. So I don't know if it's just the store or that I went too early. They had no red onion, you guys. There was no section for it. It was all gone. It was nothing but yellow onions there. And I was like, what? I can't get them from here. Like, I used to always go to that life to get the onions. The red onions I would use for guacamole. I was heartbroken, you all. Because, like, not even just guacamole, but, like, if I make nachos or anything else like that. The one time that I mean, that was really the only reason why I went there, because I can buy avocados anywhere else. I can buy, cilantro anywhere else. I specifically wanted to get red onions from there, and they didn't have it. So for the first time, I had to make guacamole without red onion. Like, in the past, I made it without it before, but I always, like, told my husband, like, hey, like, can you go to, like, Life and get some red onions for me? So I never, like, had to go, like, really without it. I just started on it without the red onion. It actually still tastes really good without it, but I miss the red onion. Like, I feel like it adds, like, a little extra spice to it that it's missing, so I was hurt. They don't have them anymore, which that sucks. But long story short, it's like, yeah, like, we can use these same raw ingredients to pretty much make anything else that we want to make. So you don't have to buy packaged foods in order to make American food. If you actually know how to cook, you can make things from scratch. For example, I did not know how to make a cake until I came to Japan. And when I realized there's no cake mix here, guess what I learned how to do? I became Betty Crocker, and I made my husband a birthday cake, and it was fucking delicious. I wish that I made it with enough time the first time that I made it, because it was really sloppy looking. But I made it the second time because we had a lot of extra, like, cocoa powder, and it tasted 10 times better than the first cake that I made him for his birthday. He loved it. He pretty much ate both of those cakes by himself, because I don't know why. I don't really like cake or cupcakes, so. But it was delicious. It was the best cake I had ever had. The best chocolate cake in particular. But that's another story. So, yeah. It's just funny to me. It's like people are surprised that we're humans and we live and we eat and, drink and we have fun and we do stuff just like how you guys do. And if you think about it, like, all of you guys had assistant language teachers going through school, and or you went to private school, and or you had private English lessons in which you learned English from a foreigner. So where do you think these foreigners are coming from? You think they just, like, get zapped in here and then zapped back out? Like, they have to live here, you guys. And a part of living is also eating and, drinking and dating and having sex and getting married and having children too. Just saying. So, and then, like, even then, it's like, if you are here, people assume that you have to be, like, in the military, or you have to be a tourist, or you have to be here temporarily. Definitely not long term. And it's like, you guys live in my country long term too. There's plenty of Japanese people that are living, and sorry, my phone just vibrated, but there's plenty of Japanese people living, long term in California, in New York, in Chicago, even in places like Texas, anywhere that you could think of. They live in the US too. And not just that, there's lots of people that don't live there that wish they could, but they cannot because, one, they don't have a bachelor's degree, and two, they may have a bachelor's degree, but unlike in Japan, where you basically just need to have a bachelor's degree and you can work there, you have to have an actual job sponsoring you in order to actually come to the US, and many of them struggle to get that. There are many Japanese people whose dream is to actually live, work, and study in the US, but they cannot do that. Whereas, as an American, if you want to go to Japan, all you need is a bachelor's degree. Like, without doing anything illegal, because I know there's other ways. The easy route. I'm not talking to y'all retarded. Excuse me, let me talk. Politically correct. I'm not talking to you special, slowed down individuals who wants sympathy because you decided that a degree is useless. Meanwhile, you're fighting for your $20 an hour because you can't afford the rent and gas prices. Oh, poor baby. And so anyway, long story short, they have the same issue here where they want to go to the US, but they cannot. But for them, many of them do. I think most Japanese people actually have a bachelor's degree. I would love to see what the statistic is on that. I think it's much higher than the US, because it seems like almost everyone you encounter, they have a bachelor's degree. Almost everyone, it seems. There has to be at least 60%. I wonder if it's maybe more like 70 or 80%. Let me search that right now. Let's see what is the statistic on that, because I do not know. Okay, so it says as of 2023, approximately 65% of Japanese people aged 25 to 34 have achieved some form of... Okay, so 34.2%, that's it? Of everyone aged... Alright, 25 to 64. So when you encounter all of those people, older people. Mind you, people of older generations, I imagine there are more people doing like farm, like related work and olden day type stuff. But yeah, basically that's pretty high. 65% of people between 25 to 34 years old. Wow. And so let's see what it is for the US. Okay, wow, you guys, I was shocked. America actually has, at least according to the statistics, I don't know if this is right, but it says that it's by just a few, 0.8% or whatever more. Americans actually have a bachelor's degree. Wow, that's surprising. So, again, I think that's including everyone, though. So, you're talking about including people that are in their 60s and 50s. But still, I'm actually surprised by that. I'm shocked. So, anyway. But then again, I guess it does make more sense, because in the US, you can't really survive with that one. Whereas in Japan, you can literally work at McDonald's and not be on welfare. Like, you can literally, have your own apartment, even living in Tokyo, without having to use, government assistance to get by. So... Anyway, I take that back, you guys. I take that back. But, yeah, like I was saying, I don't know, why was I talking about education degrees? So, hey, shout out to America. See, my country is better than Japan. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I don't make the rules. The statistics say that, okay? We actually there's more of us with degrees. But I find that hard to believe, because, man, it sure don't seem like, 9 out of 10 people that you talk to telling you how a degree is a waste of money and you don't need it, and please date us broke niggas and tip your barista type people is what you see behind turning every corner. Everybody's begging for handouts and money and give us a raise, etc. Even though y'all don't deserve it, and it's doing nothing but fucking up our economy even more. But that's another story. So yeah, I guess I'm done with this video. I just wanted to get that out of my chest. It's really weird. I'm not supposed to date, I'm not supposed to eat, I'm not supposed to do anything, just sit back and do nothing but teach English, apparently. And then even then, this, I do fit this mold of the stereotype. Now I'm a housewife, but prior to this, my profession was being a teacher. But even then, it's a lot of people, I won't say a lot of people, but I think a lot of people secretly have a level of disrespect towards teachers, because the assumption is that if you're an English teacher here, you are an English teacher. And it's no, many of the teachers here have legitimate teaching credentials and a real bachelor's degree. You're not dealing with people that are just here on a working holiday or teaching English for fun because it's all they can do as a job. But there's people here that are literally doing this as a real career and actually know what they're doing, have a degree in education. So I find that to be very annoying and a backhanded, offensive thing that people try to say and do towards you. Because I've had a few people that I've dated and talked to before that make assumptions about you based off of you being a foreigner here and teaching English. And it's not an English teacher, I'm a kindergarten teacher. And I know it's oh, why does it matter? No, there is a difference. Somebody that's just teaching English is some sort of volunteer, have fun on a working holiday visa. That's very different from somebody that actually went to school to study education. Not to mention, again, beyond that, not everybody here is teaching, period. There are people here doing IT-related jobs, working customer service, people that are, engineers, etc. There are people working real professional jobs, people that have businesses here, people that, do their own thing, that aren't doing any of those so-called stereotypical jobs. So, I get it. Most people do that. I understand. But I do find it interesting that people just assume that it has to be what you're doing. And I find it a little bit offensive. I mean, I look at it this way. This is a bad example to give. It's going to hurt people's feelings. But I'm not being politically correct. Keeping it real. It would be if I were going to date a Mexican guy in the U.S. And I assume, oh, so where do you work? At Pepe's? It's a popular Mexican restaurant in Chicago. Or my favorite, El Cortez? Now look, you might not be wrong, alright? But at the same time, it's okay, so Mexicans can't have jobs outside of serving Mexican food? Or for an Asian person, oh, so do you work at the nail salon? Do you work at Jenny's Beauty Supply? So they can't have jobs outside of doing nails and polishing nails? Polishing nails and selling hair supplies? I mean, yes, I get it. You might be right. But you get what I'm trying to say, to ignorantly voice your stupid opinion, basically, or your stupid assumption. Like, just keep it to yourself. Ask. I mean, it'd be like, let me talk about black people. See, y'all get offended if I talk about other races. So I'm going to talk about black people so I can make everybody happier, right? It would be like if you were to meet a black guy and you were to say to him, so do you pay child support? Or do you see your kids every weekend? And then he tells you, what kids? What child support? I don't have any children. And I don't pay child support. What are you talking about? Oh, I was just asking. I assumed. It's a stereotype. Now, maybe he is paying child support. Maybe he does have kids that he's not acknowledging. But you get what I'm trying to say. If you don't know the person, I just think it's kind of a weird assumption to make. I'm not even trying to be a sensitive snowflake. I'm just keeping it real. I don't do that to them. Okay? When I see a guy that has tan skin, I don't instantly say, oh, are you a part of the Yakuza? Are you a farmer? Are you a carpenter? Why? Because that's offensive and rude. Maybe he just likes to be out in the sun. Maybe he surfs. You don't know what the case is. And it's not like it's a compliment to say those things, is it? No. Also, what is it going to do for you to know this information? Nothing. You don't need to know. So, I'm done, y'all. I'm done. That's all. I just have to get this off my chest because, like I said, I was irritated with the it makes me so mad. I hate walking outside. I need to get a car. I really just hate walking on the sidewalk. I get a lot angrier than I should. I'm a petty person. I try not to be because normally I try to be all Kristen and Christ like oh, you go ahead. Yes, bump into me, Sachiko. I don't mind. Yes, you can cough on me, Tato. It's fine. I try not to care, but they make me care. It's like I can let the one person go. And then when the second person does it, it's like, fuck! I get angry, okay? I can't control it. And so, of course, I don't let this out while I'm outside. But I just think to myself, I get irritated, okay? To myself, alright? I'm all smiles and I love Japan. While I'm walking outside, but I'm thinking to myself, really, bitch? So, I'm done. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel and please like this video if you have not and leave a comment down below. If you have any questions, video ideas, or topics for me, please send me an email directly or leave a comment asking your question. You can also check out my YouTube channel's homepage. I have videos on working, studying, dating, and living here in Japan. And you can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Comic95. I have a Snapchat and TikTok at Comic the Savior, and a Facebook fan page at Comic95 the Savior, and a blog at Comic95.com. And yeah, I guess that's all. So thank you so much for listening, and thank you for watching, and I hope you'll watch another video